What's good, everyone? My name is Sonic, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Fourth Wall Splat podcast, brought to you by the Peak Entertainment Conglomerate. Every Capital City citizen wants to win the Rumble, of course, but with the win comes fame, and if you're gonna be famous, you gotta look good, or it's not gonna last very long. So a lot of Rumblers spend their time in between workouts picking out the perfect look for when the lights are focused on them. Character customization and expressions of style is really important to a lot of people, and Rumbleverse did it really well. Some people did it so well, actually, that they were declared Capital City Fashionistas even. For those of you who aren't aware, the Fashionista title was a rare player card title that only a few people were able to win and use. According to the official Rumbleverse website, it was awarded only to the most stylish Rumblers on the battle barge, which somehow did not include my signature Spice Commando outfit. I don't know who judges these things, but that's why I brought back Inertia to talk about character customization. He is a Rumbleverse fashion guru, and he held one of the prestigious Fashionista titles. So Inertia, thank you for coming back again. Let's get started with something basic here first. How did you get into the Rumbleverse fashion scene?
So it started off, I've always loved customization and character customization. Some of my earliest, I guess, gaming memories, or some of my earlier gaming memories, like playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and just on the fourth one, you can make, however many characters you want, and I would just be like going to the character, making a character, and then like playing the first level, and then quitting and make another character. And NFL Street 2 had like the same kind of deal. Plenty of other RPGs have you customize your character. I've always loved that. So I've just been someone who always likes being very meticulous about those kind of things. And so it kind of was something that just happened when I started playing Rumbleverse. I just enjoyed the customization specifically. And so I just kept doing that. Specifically, the Rumbleverse fashion channel on their official Discord was kind of my first window into the community as a whole. And that was a good place to post your looks and then see other people's looks and get inspired about, oh wow, like that piece really looks good if you use it that way, that kind of thing. It just kind of happened from there, where I spent more of my time when I was scrolling through the Discord, where I spent more time in fashion, because it was just, I guess it clicked like that. So I just kind of started doing that, and then once I started making the YouTube videos, it was kind of obvious to me, oh, if I get a good win, I can change my outfit to something else. And then that way, whenever I post whatever video, it's almost like I also at the same time can showcase all of my unique looks I've created, because each win or each match would have a different look, right? And so I actually started doing you'll notice I think after my first video or something like that, I started doing these things where I just named the outfit that I came up with, or the character I came up with, and put it at the beginning of each of those little matches. And I thought that was like a kind of cool way that I could kind of just show off, hey, look, I made this cool outfit or whatever. And it seemed to flow and work. And so it just kind of, I guess, went from there.
That's perfect. I actually will go in the opposite direction here. I'm not a fashion person overall, but in my experience, like if there's RPGs in the past or Tony Hawk's games, like I'll make a character. I mean, if it's skateboarding, I love skateboarding, and I'll make it after myself because I want to be a skateboarder in the game. But otherwise, I'll make a character one time and I will never change them again. You'll never see me in the customization menu at that point. So it's good we have those two different views here anyway, talking about fashion.
Oh yeah. I spent quite a bit of time in the what do you call it, the locker, because to me that's part of the game. That's just as fun as hopping in and choking slamming someone, is just like sitting there and picking out exactly which gloves would work with which elbow pads. And I'll mention this too. I am not a fashion guy in real life at all. Not even remotely.
Fair enough,
specifically, I think because it's I just like the whole customization, and it's even more fun too when you get to name the idea. Like I had one that I came up with based on a name first, which was Hype Beast. I don't even know if I made a video of it yet. I don't know, but it was basically it's like the goblin whatever mask, the goblin outfit, but with like the hip hop jacket on it. And for some reason it was like a fun play on words, and so like that was fun for me, coming up with the name and then coming up with the look. And it's like it's almost like this little creative thing that you get to make a new character. So I don't know. I've always enjoyed it, and I love making the group outfits, just as much too. Where it's like, hey, what could we do
Hmm.
if we had 4 players in quads? Like, what if each one of us was a different blah 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 or whatever? And just trying to come up with themes that work with multiple people is also really fun too. It's like a different kind of dynamic.
That's great. And something that I'm reminded of is in the last few days before the game shut down, when everything was available, um, as far as I got anyway, was basically like, okay, everybody wear a different color, or everybody wear this color, and that was pretty much it. So that was changing fashion for me, and I did go through a couple of looks. Maybe I can post the video in here as well, and I think you made a reply to with some of your different looks or the evolution
Yes.
over time.
Yeah.
So I'll try to put that in here too. You can see exactly how my character evolved over time, and I went from one look to another one, and then partly back, and then I just completely changed it once. And then overall, though, you mentioned that you like to win a game, change the character's look, and show off your different styles. I'd say in that sense, I was also the opposite. I wanted people to know who I was in the game for the most part,
Right.
unless I was playing in like the big grapple or something like that, which only really happened
It's the
once.
opposite,
If I
right?
yeah, if I was playing like a competitive thing, I don't want people to know who I am then most of the time. Sometimes I did anyway, like I just used the same outfit, but I made a character. I really have a name for him aside from like the Spice Commando, because everything, he's like wearing a biker jacket, and he's got the commando hat that I unlocked at the very end. And the only pants that I could find that were black and that kind of fit the character that I liked had the like
Spice
spices,
holster.
the
Yeah.
spice holster on it. So that's what I went with, and that's all I could find. But it grew on me over time anyway. I like my Spice Commando, and I rode him through to the very end. Basically, like that was my character. And if you saw me in game, almost certainly I was that guy. And if you
Yeah.
occasionally it goes against you because you fight someone who is really good, they know what you look like, you come across them the next game, they're just going to go for you because they know they beat you last time. And sometimes it works out well. Like you can have people run away from you when they know who you are, even though you're low health or something like that. That happened a
Yeah.
couple of times too, so it works both ways. But yeah, I wanted it to be more like wrestling in the sense that this is who I am, and you know
Right.
who I am. Whether you beat me or not, hopefully it won't come back. Hopefully I'm doing well enough to do good anyway. But you'll see in most of my videos, or pretty much all of my videos, especially later, like I have one character and that's it.
Right. It's funny. It worked
Different
because I
philosophy.
even recognized
Yeah.
you. We like that last dev stream when everybody's touring the city. I
Yeah.
recognized you and I started waving. I'm like, hey, I know,
Yeah.
I know you. Yeah. So
Yeah. That was the goal.
you
Like,
goal.
and so it worked. I think I did recognize you then too, and a couple of other people I recognized that had costumes that stayed the same more often, and that was great. And I know a couple of other people like Lemonberry Juice. I don't know if you know him, but I used to play against him a lot, and we would always run into each other, have good fights, and and at that point it was like, oh damn, it's him again. I either need to get him
Yeah.
or run away from him, because that's going to be a tough fight. If I fight him now, I'm going to either beat him and probably win the game, or I'm going to lose right now, and that's how it is. So
That's funny.
it really was funny, and I liked picking my character, people knowing who I am for the most part, and when other people did the same, because you got to have kind of a connection with them between multiple matches. Maybe that's because there weren't quite as many people playing the game as we would wish, but or either that, or maybe it was related to higher MMR or
Skill as
something like
well.
that,
Yeah.
higher skill ratings if they had that. I'm sure it was in the game. We don't know the details of it. But yeah, I faced the same people a lot, and I want them to know who I was. It's good for if you're making a stream, or if you're doing a stream, sorry, or making YouTube content or something like that. I'm like, that's my character. People should know me. That's how I felt about it.
Right.
But also, I just am not a fashion person. I don't go back into the menus very often and change things around. But it
Yeah.
happened a little bit. Anyway, enough about me. That's what fashion is all about, right? You just talk about yourself. No. Can you tell me a little bit how you got the Fashionista title, and then a bit about the winning costume that came together. I'll try to put that up on the screen for anyone who's watching the video too.
Yeah, so as soon as they announced title fights, I was really excited because I was like, this is an opportunity for me to like get something cool, like win, something that I could display in game and stuff. I mean, Rumbleverse was a game at the time whenever they announced title fights. I think it was the very beginning of season 2. I was already like hooked in, and I'm like, this is my game, like I was enjoying
Mhm.
myself, and I saw myself playing it for at the very least till the next year, right? Like, which is, I don't even stick with games usually that long, but I knew it. Like, this is just something
Yeah.
special. Um, so I was excited about it, and then it's funny because the look that we won Fashionista with was for the quads title fight, and it was Cirque du Suplex, and it was themed off of a
Perfect.
circus. So we were all a
Yeah.
cirque group. And it's actually funny enough, it started with a season 1 costume that I made. And it's special to me, and it's stuck in my mind because it was the costume I wore when I got my first win after a month. I know we talked about in the
Okay.
previous
Yeah.
podcast that I just had a month of terribleness while I was still learning, and it wasn't getting into my thick skull how to do things.
Mhm.
But when I finally did it, I was wearing a circus strongman outfit, and I'll send it to you too, so you can see it. But uh, it's it's very muted compared to this one later. But after, whenever what was it? Duos and trios and quads. When quads and trios are coming out in season 2, I thought about it and I was like, okay, well we got to have some group themes. And my friend Poetic, who was playing the game more in season 2, he bought the clown outfit and he showed it off in the
Yeah.
text chat wherever. And I was like, okay, perfect. If you bought that clown outfit, I'm gonna match you for duos, and then we'll have a duos look. And I was like, oh, you know what? I can just bring back my old Circus Strongman. Um, and then I upgraded it with the new fan mail stuff that they had, and I mean, it looks way better than my first
Mhm.
iteration. And I was really proud of it. Like, it looked really good to me. It was very clean and consistent, and it conveyed what I wanted to convey, while still having good colors and all this other stuff. So I was like, I like that, and I think if I was going to do a fashion, that would be one I would think about. So the first fashion title comes around. I lose. I submitted a glam. I think I called him Glam Rock Superstar, and it was basically kind of David Bowie like rock star look, very colorful. I used
Yeah.
the Epic Games exclusive cheerleader face paint, and it like looked good and everything. I was really proud of it, and I took a photo shoot and everything. It took me actually like 30 minutes to an hour to take all the photos for it,
Yeah.
and so I was a little bit bummed when I didn't win. But then comes around the second one, and it's on the day of quads, and they
Mhm.
mention I'd already planned to play with my friends that day. We had planned in advance. We knew quads was coming, so we were like, we're gonna play on that day. We were excited. It doesn't always happen that way either because it's hard to get everybody together. Um, but then they announced it like that morning, like, all right, quads title fight. I'm like, you can do that? You can do a group title fight for fashion?
Yeah.
So thought about it, and I kept thinking, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Especially because my brother had only played like a few matches in season 1. He has like nothing in terms of outfit stuff. So I'm like,
Mhm.
what could we do that actually would work as a group? And it clicked. I was just like, it's the Cirque one that I came up with. Like, the Circus Strongman looks good. I was like, we could just do the circus. And so after that, I was like, okay, well, we have the clown, we have Circus Strongman, we just need the other two. And Sir J Pond, my cousin, who I played a lot of duos with, he had the battle pass from season 1, so he could do a cannon thing. I was like, okay, you can be a human cannonball, and so he
Yeah.
did like a little bit slightly different than that with like the eye mask to differentiate from just straight up being the cannoneer from whatever from the first season. He would want to be a little bit different. But then I
Mhm.
was like thinking of my brother, like what he's gonna wear. Like, he could just be an acrobat. There's like, just stick on a leotard or whatever. Like, you don't even have to match or anything. You could
Yeah.
just be odd one out. And he thankfully, I don't know how, after only playing like a few games, happened to have like red, white, and blue boots and like red and blue like whatever. And then he had the free face paint from the PS Plus for cheerleading, and it worked perfectly. I was like, it's not incredible or anything, but it worked perfectly for like acrobat. And then boom, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, we got it. We got to go. So when we got on, I was like, okay, I had already, before everybody got on, I went and scouted some locations on the map to take photos because I'm like, this submission has to look good. And I was like, perfect. Ice cream clown is perfect. And then behind it, actually, while I was rolling around, I was
Mr.
like, there's a
Sweeties.
cotton candy popcorn shop right there. I was like, what is more circus than snacks at a cop store? So that's what the main thing we did is we jumped into the playground, ran over, took that picture, and we look and took a picture waving with different food that I picked up for everybody to hold. And those are the two things that ended up being in that submission. And funnily enough, the Cirque du Suplex name, I came up with it for that duo's look. But I actually put it off when I first was thinking about it. I was like, it needs to be like a fun circus thing. I was like, maybe like Cirque du Soleil. And I was like, I'll just
Yeah.
stick Cirque du Punch in my edit. And I was like, I'll
Ouch.
think of something later. And I was like, I was like, I just need to stick something in there because I was just editing something. I was like, I'll just stick that in there for now. And it came to me later. I was like, it needs to have an S like Soleil. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
suplex. And I've never, like, that's one of the most proud naming moments for me. I was like, Cirque du Suplex just rolls off the tongue. I was like, that's a good name. So I was
Yeah,
like,
if
we
a
have
circus
something good
existed and
here.
if they had made a circus in Rumbleverse, it would have been called that,
Right.
I think. So
Right. It felt fitting. And so we were really excited about it. I made a nice post. I even like got the emojis for each of the members. Like I was trying hard to make it look visually appealing, and I
mhm.
used like I said like grab a snack and enjoy the show, like some little flair or whatever
Yeah.
in my submission. And I was so excited because I was like, I think we have a good chance. Like I really felt confident that we had done something cool. And there wasn't as many submissions either with this compared to the first one. The first one had like hundreds, and this one had I can't remember how many, but it was less than 100. And so I'm sitting
Mhm.
there thinking like, I want to win this. And the next day they delayed or whatever the results, and I'm like on pins and needles because like I want this fashionista thing because I care about Rumbleverse so much and I put so much effort into. I'm like, this is perfect, and like this has to happen. And then I remember actually I woke up and checked my phone notifications, and I was like slowly scrolling and I saw it that it said like congratulations, and it said like Cirque du Suplex or whatever, and I was like, yes, like one of the
Yeah.
best feelings of in gaming that I've had. I was like, no, like I won a like a contest, right? Like that's
Yep.
I've never had that happen before. So I was really excited, and then I guess after that, I made like a little video transcribing. I was actually inspired from the fashion Discord channel. There was a member named Bugchamp on there who mentioned like, oh, you should make a video, something about with your title cards, the new title cards with your circus people. And I was like, I could do one better. I'll make some bland old title cards with us in our circus outfits, and then our main avatar, whatever we've decided, can be the new like fashionista thing. And so I put that up there on like YouTube and Twitter and everything, and I was really proud of that little video. But I was just really excited, and I thought it was really fun. It's too bad that it was like only like a week late or two later that they shut down the game.
Right.
So it was not happy for too
Short-lived, but
long.
yeah,
Yeah.
still very
The
cool.
coolest thing about that though was the fact that after that, like a week later, and this was like one of the last two I think posts or something like that, that Rumbleverse posted a picture of Cirque du Suplex, our characters in all their gear and everything, but it was like a edited like I guess what you call it, like some sort of key art, like they put in whatever
Okay.
program and actually had like us posing, and it was like something you couldn't create. You had to create with like the dev tools and everything. I don't know how to say it, better to explain it, but it's like it's
Yeah.
official art that they would make for their social media, right? And they put the effort into it, and they said like Circus Suplex recently came to town, like what is your quad look, some
Huh.
basic generic like social media interaction thing. And I like lost my marbles even more. Like that was actually like even crazier than winning was like they spent like a week or and a half or whatever, like, and then they made something using our idea and like put it on social media and acknowledged us, and I was like, what? Like that blew my mind way more than just winning. And I think I even asked them too. I was like, does this make it canon? Like, I'm like, please, I need you to tell me, like,
Fashion
is
canon.
Cirque du
Yeah.
Suplex is officially canon? I consider it. I say if Rumbleverse made an official image, we're acknowledging it and showing them off like they exist in this universe. And who can say? I mean, it's shut down, so who can say now?
Yeah. You
I
can't
can
tell
say
you
whatever
otherwise
I can say
now.
whatever I want about it. You'll never know. But that was super super exciting. I actually put the I was so happy about it that I put the whenever I got shut down announcement. I put it in like a frame and put it on my YouTube and Twitter banner behind my avatar. You can actually see like a framed photo that's the photo, and it's a framed photo of Cirque du Suplex as like a honorary like haha, this is like almost like I guess like a trophy picture or whatever, memorializing it. But yeah, that experience was, I mean, I'm talking top gaming for me. It was like putting in the
Yeah.
effort and winning something like that outside of the game was like it blew my mind.
It's top gaming and it happens outside the game. Totally understand
Oh
that,
yeah,
but that would be very
no,
exciting.
I meant I meant that it was like it's a gaming moment, but it's not like you just won a game of
Yeah.
Rumbleverse. Like I won a contest that the whole world could have, and only I think only one person on Twitter won it, which was us, and I think they got two more winners on Instagram or something like that. But like it was a very
Okay.
few people, so I was really honored. I thought it was really
Yeah.
cool.
Very few people had the title overall. I know I applied to the first one with my Spice Commando. Didn't win, unfortunately. I
Close.
tried to portray him as like a heel character because I figured nobody else
Yeah.
is doing that probably. So I was like, oh, here's my guy. He looks super cool, I think, and he's carrying
No,
this.
I do as well.
Yeah, yeah,
I do
and
like
then
the outfit a lot.
he's carrying the spices around, and I put something in my post like, the pepper is to give flavor to the bland food that's in Grappital City, and the salt is for my opponents. And I was like, oh, this is a dig. Like, I'm a heel character now. I'm just gonna roll with that. I thought they would find that funny. Didn't win, unfortunately, but it was funny. So I didn't have that title, obviously. Not many people did, but I did participate in a Rumbleverse fashion show just before the game shut down, and that was hosted
Right.
by the Young Prince. So that was an interesting experience for me because at first I've never done that before at all. I didn't even know that was a thing until like a couple days beforehand. And in the second round, we all had to. So sorry, for the first round, everybody just kind of strutted their character around, and I made it through the first round because my character is super cool. And then
Mhm.
For the second round, you have to put together like a routine to show off your character. So do a few things that fit your character's
Oh.
look and that kind of stuff. Show off your skills. I guess that's not usually part of a fashion show as much as it would be like a Miss America pageant or something like that, like a beauty pageant maybe. But
Miss
you know,
Capital City, yeah.
Miss Grappital City, or yeah, Mr. or Mrs. Grappital City. I guess maybe that's what it could have been called. So anyway, I ended up doing pretty well in that overall, and I put together a routine to show off my character that like I tried to make it fit his theme, and I did that about an hour beforehand or something, and I was like panicking because I was like, I gotta remember to do some stuff. I had something at the end where I had a barrel that was involved, and I wanted to destroy it at a specific time, and I could only do that if I got the right number of hits. And I was standing around in the bleachers off to the side while other people were doing theirs and trying to prepare. And I had to get a barrel from Grappital City and bring it over to Lokiki. And people
Oh no,
then
so you
people
broke it
kept hitting
early.
it. Well, like
Oh
someone would run up to me
no.
and just hit the barrel once, and I was like, no, I need this to be full health. And so I'd
Oh
have to
no.
run back, and I'd be like, I hope I get back in time because I got to run back to Grappital City, find the barrel, run back over again, and then I just decided like, okay, it was dumb of me. I figured I could just put myself into like no combat mode, but
And just pick it up.
as long as I held the barrel, people couldn't hit it. But if every time I put it down, someone hit it, and that was frustrating.
That's
Um,
annoying.
but yeah, I
Yeah, I
did.
wish I would have been able to make that, but I was busy that day, so I didn't get to make that fashion show. But it seemed like it
Yeah.
was really cool.
It was fun, and I ended up doing my routine. I actually had a better finish to it than I expected, but I did forget like a tiny bit in the middle. I was going to show off some kung fu broom skills to go with my character, and I forgot that. But nobody else would have known if I didn't tell them anyway. It was just a short
Right.
routine. So, I didn't make it into the top 5, unfortunately, so I missed out on prizing because that event did have prizing, and one of the prizes was getting the Fashionista title as well there, just a couple
Right.
days before shutdown. But
Right. Right.
yeah, I ended up probably getting somewhere around 7th or 8th or something like that, just based on
Oh wow, that's pretty high though.
it was pretty good out of I think 25 people or so.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
yeah,
Pretty good.
they had a poll for filling out the top 5, and he just wanted to pick 1 or 2 people, and I was in that poll, so I would have been somewhere around 7th or 8th or something like that probably.
Hey.
So that was, yeah, it was a really fun afternoon. That took like almost an entire afternoon. And it was very different. It was an interesting break from fighting, and that's the most fashion related stuff I've ever done in a game ever. And it was fun, so it was good.
Yeah.
So I watched some of your YouTube videos. Everybody else should check out your channel. If you want to plug it now, please go ahead.
Oh, Inertia Gaming Nation. I post just whatever I'm playing with friends mostly, and it's gonna be Rumbleverse for next few months because I have, I had 500 gigabytes of video after it died that I couldn't bear myself to delete, and so I'm gonna use as much of that as I can.
Awesome. So everybody should go check that out right after this. And yeah, so I saw that in your videos you create a few characters inspired by other games. So you did make original characters as well, but you also made things inspired by other games or other real life wrestlers, and we know that you're interested in wrestling, so that's interesting. So what were your favorite character costumes that you created yourself? And then, what are a couple of the ones that you liked that you've seen other people wear or are based on real characters, real people, sorry.
Right. So it really is kind of split based on before the full cosmetic unlock that happened after the shutdown, because that was really what allowed everybody to go in and make, characters based on real things, because you have all this stuff open to you. It's a lot harder whenever you have to like find the individual pieces. But some of my favorite looks, obviously, my main avatar look, which we have very similar fashion sense because we both have like the overall like wrestler with a vest and glasses kind of look. But my main look was actually kind of inspired by Bret Hart. I went with like a pink color scheme, and it's pretty simple. All it is like I said, it's a leotard, pink, black, and white, and then I just threw on sunglasses and the jean vest, so it's kind of like a little bit extra. I threw on the spiked wrist gauntlets at the end, but it's kind of basic, but it really fits like kind of like what my ultimate style is. Anyway, just being, I guess, like a wrestling fan, and it's that was pretty cool. So that's probably definitely one of my favorites. And I actually got to do to make it at the end of season 1 based on what I was picking for the fan mail bug. I don't know if anybody had to deal with that, but there's a bug that you wouldn't get all your fan mail, and so I was able to go through the system and pick what I wanted, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go, the pink leotard, and I think I got elbow pads that were black to match my black knee pads. So that was really cool. So going into season 2. And I like you said, I switch them out every video, so I didn't get to show him off as much. But for community stuff, I was using him, throughout that. Oh, by the way, his name, I don't have an official name either. But in my head, I would chuckle to myself, and because it was kind of inspired by Bret the Hitman Hart, I would call him Bert the Hurt Man.
Yeah.
And so so he's Bert and he hurts people, so he's Bert the Hurt Man. And then eventually I think we finally got to do a group theme. Well, we didn't get to really do it like I wanted to because the game shut down, but I wanted to do the Hurt Foundation, and because it would be like me, everybody else dressed in pink. But anyway, some of my other favorites, I definitely have to mention Perry the Platypus. We did me and Sir J-Pon did Perry the Platypus and Doofenshmirtz, and Perry the Platypus to me is that perfect mix of trying to create a character in Rumbleverse that exists elsewhere, and it looks so off from what it really is that you can't get it, and it's funny. But then if you told someone, hey, I'm dressed up as Perry the Platypus, you're like, oh, I see it, right? Like it works. It's like that perfect middle ground where it's hilariously off but also hilariously like on point too. I mean, the dog feet and the dog tail being close enough to the color for his feet and beaver tail, it is just hilarious. And of course, the fact that I made him a giant beefcake too is also really funny to me, instead of making him like the skinny or whatever person.
Beefcake
so really
was the only
that
option
one.
that I went with.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Every character was a beefcake.
Yeah, I mean, you see, I have made like, however many designs, and I almost always went with the beefcake. I just
Yeah.
that fits the Rumbleverse style for me and the way I play. Like this, I always imagine my character as this like big over the top, wrestling character who is super goofy and always like talking about his muscles, that kind of thing. So it really just like fit my style.
Yeah, I
Um,
felt that body type just perfectly fit Rumbleverse in general. Like
right.
it looked like Rumbleverse. Like I don't know how I can
I
explain it any
agree.
other way, but yeah, going to a skinny character or some of the larger characters. Like I tried the skinny character a couple times, and I feel like that was the try hard
Yeah.
version
Yeah.
because you could hide a little bit easier. I mean, a lot easier, really, if you have tons of big muscles.
Oh,
But I didn't like it. It just threw me off, and I was like, this character. How is this character, the skinny guy, lifting like the biggest characters? And obviously, nothing in the game makes sense. Of course, they can do it, but I
yeah.
don't know. Just the muscle character, I was like, this is
Right.
perfect for what I'm doing. Like this guy could suplex someone off of a building and survive, and that makes sense to me. The skinny guy is gonna break in half if he does that, but
Yeah, no, no matter, even when I was playing in like the Emperor Mole's Cash tournament and everything, like no, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go skinny to hide in bushes or anything. I'm
yeah,
beefcake all the time, regardless if it gets me killed or not. Like I'm going in
yeah,
the way I want to. So
I did the
some
same
other
thing.
ones that the other ones that I looked at and liked, obviously my Circus Strongman, I thought was just really clean. It had like obviously tied memory to me with
Yeah,
winning the Fashionista. The Glam Rock Superstar, because I even though I lost the fashion title, I thought it like was really consistent. One of the other ones, Highlander, was one I made, and it was basically just the armor, but with like red hair and the red mohawk, red beard, and then like the blue and white PS Plus cheerleader face paint. It just worked for
makes
me as like
sense.
a Braveheart style character. And I thought it was just really cool, even though it didn't use a whole lot of different pieces. Daredevil, I made a Daredevil character where it's basically just like the cannon hat, USA theme, and aviators and a big mustache, and it just like screams like Evil Knievel
Mm-hmm.
kind of character, doing giant elbow drops out of the sky, right? So I that one was another one that was kind of simple, but I enjoyed. And then finally, one of my favorite ones for sure was one that I called the One and Oni, like the one and only, but it's an I said Oni because it's like a Japanese demon because
Yeah.
it has that kind of look. And it's funny because I actually got during one of the big grapple, I think it was the second big grapple finale, Tupperware was giving out, he like randomly gave out some codes while I was watching, and I got one of them, one of the founders packs, and I was like I
Oh,
like lost
nice.
my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got one of the codes. And so um I got the karate gi, and someone in that big grapple was actually using the bigger character, and they used like a white karate gi and like the
The
red
Ryu, but not Ryu
yeah,
for
basically, and
trademark
then the
reasons.
red, what is it called, the red like demon head or whatever from the action figure. And it was slightly different, but it gave me
Yeah.
an inspiration. I was like, I need to, now that I have the founders pack, I was excited about that. I'm like, I need to do something like that. So I actually did like the black gi, and everything else underneath it is the demon whatever figurine, and it just looks like end boss, like it's like was it great value Akuma like kind of thing,
Yeah.
like end boss of a fighting game. And I really enjoyed that one, especially also because it tied into me winning that founders pack was really fun too.
Yeah. Free stuff is always great, especially
Oh,
when it's for
absolutely! Always
Rumbleverse.
feels better when it's free.
Yeah. I paid for that founders pack, and then I don't even know if well, sorry, I did use the gi a couple times. My partner and I, Queets, we played a few games as like Ryu and Ken or something like that. Maybe he was Akuma, I don't
Nice.
remember, but that was about it for that one. But I wanted to mention quickly anyway a couple of other things that I saw because I pretty much always stuck with my character. But I know we had a couple of Zangiefs that I saw. We
I
had
was angry. Yep,
yeah
I did. I was angry.
I played a match where actually I played a match with Keyman. We got to play a couple of matches on the last day effectively, and that actually cut
Mhm.
into our time where we were supposed to play together for the first time, unfortunately.
Right.
But it was just the timing on that and his availability. But we got into a match. It was a quads match. We were playing as a trio, and two of the other teams were full Peter Griffins. So there was
Oh,
8
dude,
Peter
it was
Griffins running
everywhere.
around. They were everywhere. Like that was the most popular costume near the end, I think.
Absolutely.
So that was funny, but
Man.
just the fact that there was 2 full teams of Peter Griffins in one game, that
Oh
was
yeah.
wild. And then my
Yeah, me and Sarah
favorite,
J. Pond had a rivalry with. I think I don't even know if we have the origin of it, but in one of our videos, like we
mhm,
see Peter Griffin, we're like, "Get him! We
yeah,
hate Peter Griffin," because he had killed us on another game or whatever, and it was like from then on, any Peter Griffin had to like be KO'd immediately.
for sure. Yeah, I hold a grudge against specific cosmetic items. I don't know if that was something you did, but cat heads, those people, I always chase them down.
Yeah.
Um, Peter Griffin's a little bit at the end, but I thought they were funny, so I tend to
Oh
leave
yeah.
them alone unless they went for me. But also there were so many of them, who could tell who. But yeah, it was definitely like specific costumes that I went for. I was like, okay, you got a cat head, I'm coming for you. What else was there? I'm trying to
Chicken
think of anything
heads
else.
too.
Chicken heads, not a little bit actually. They were annoying for a bit. Most of the cat heads, but there was a couple of other ones. My favorite costume that I saw somebody else wear, and I don't know why I didn't wear this myself at least once, was Johnny Bravo. I don't know if you saw
Yes,
him.
I
When
saw
I
that
when
too.
I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, that's perfect! That's
Yeah.
hilarious." So
Yep.
that was good, and he would be in this game. Like I could see a collaboration and putting Johnny
Oh yeah,
Bravo in this
absolutely.
game, and they don't have to change anything. He's just already there
No,
basically. So that was really
he's the
funny.
beefcake.
Yeah, he's the beefcake, and then they had the shirt and they had a hairstyle. Like the hairstyle's a little bit off. They could make that a little bit better, but it was close, and like I immediately knew
Right.
it when I saw it, and I was like, that's funny.
Right.
So all of the items became available within the last few weeks before shutdown. It's sad. On one hand, I'm going to lead you in this question. It's sad because the game's shutting down, of course, but if you're a fashion person, you've now got access to everything, including a couple of things that weren't released at any point before then. How did it feel to have the full closet?
Right. So that, yeah, obviously it was sad, but there was kind of like two dynamics to that because before everything was unlocked, obviously you didn't have access to as much things. But I really felt like it kind of felt like the difference between like when you're building something in Minecraft and creative versus survival, or for someone, I guess, more old school, when you're playing like Roller Coaster Tycoon or any of those tycoon games and you play a scenario with like sandbox with no money, there's no money you have to worry about. It's kind of two different feels.
All the
And
cheats.
you can without the restriction, you have everything in front of you. You can do so much customization, and that's what we did. I mean, we did constant like customization and trying to do different things. Street Fighter, different video game bosses, Sans, like all sorts of stuff. But before that, there is a sense of almost like extra satisfaction when you actually are limited by what you can use. Um,
Yeah.
and so having the feed of fan mail come in and the battle pass items and then whatever stuff you could buy from the store, that was also, I would say really fun too, because it was almost like, okay, you have this pool of items, what can you make? And so there was a certain almost like problem solving element to it there, whereas when everything's unlocked, then it becomes free reign, like, okay, just make whatever. And that's it's almost like comparing apples and oranges with that stuff. But it was really cool to
Yeah.
see how when you opened everything up, how the customization really shined though for people too, and then how intricate it was, how many things you could do with it. It's sad that the game shut down, had to happen for it that to be the case, I guess. But
Yeah.
whenever it did, man, like you could really see how cool the customization was.
My original costume for this game was based on the fact that I just unlocked all the gold stuff right away for whatever reason. And I was like, this is cool. I have a gold character, and for a tiny bit he was like a luchador and stuff. I was like, this fits really well. And then I slowly started changing it until actually, sorry, that's what I used until the biker vest appeared in the store for I think the second time. And I immediately bought that, and I was like, now my character is completely different. And I was like, but you're still locked into what you have, and there was no way to get everything you wanted unless you wanted like a full outfit from the store.
Right.
So yeah, I changed my character slowly over time based on like one single item, just making me a bit like, oh, I unlocked this randomly. I'm gonna make a character change now, kind of, and that's what got me back into the locker room occasionally, at least. so I didn't completely avoid it. I did actually go into it once in a while. And yeah, once everything was available, I did find it was a little bit hard to actually, sorry, it was a bit hard to find what you were actually looking for when there were so many things. So maybe that could have been fixed up over time. They could have improved that over time. But you had everything, so it's hard to complain too much about that.
Yeah, the UI could have used a little bit more improvement, but it's like the game was so young, it wasn't honestly that bad. But I feel like if they
Yeah,
had given time, they probably would have improved it. It really just needed more tags to items. Like everything was you could sub by or select by torso, but torso includes gloves, it includes elbows, it includes your shirt, and even included like belts at times. So it's like if they could have maybe subdivided some of that stuff and maybe added like a favorite option or a hide option, so you could select things like the elbow pads I use constantly. So stuff like that would
yeah,
have made it a little bit better. The only
yeah.
other
I saw
thing would
elbow
be
pads.
I was constantly asking for more outfit save slots. There's only 3, and I was like, I wish I could
Yeah,
save, like however many, like all 30, 40 of my whatever looks or even potential looks, just so it would make, even if you had to scramble through the menus to find stuff to change, having it saved would alleviate that, because you'd only have to do that once and then you could just search through your save slots. So, but I
yeah. I'm
mean,
not sure.
it
Maybe.
was a minor gripe, honestly. The customization was so good that I was allowed to be just a little bit, I guess, unintuitive there.
Well, I think part of that too, now that I'm thinking about it further, is that they didn't expect everyone to have everything. Like that's
Oh
not
yeah,
something
no,
that was going to happen. It
absolutely.
wasn't.
That
I'm
that is
sure
a
in
big part of it.
yeah, they didn't intend that to happen so soon. I'm sure. So they would have had time to adjust and make changes and improvements to the locker room before everybody had that much stuff in the first place. So that's probably it. And yeah, about the saving outfits, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't add more at any point. But I was wondering if they intended to eventually charge for that, or like maybe if you bought the battle pass or something like that, you get extra slots. Like I'm sure that must have been on their mind because people were asking about that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have just been a free update. They just added more later. They probably, I mean, there's a
Also
lot
possible.
they were changing with the game and stuff. I'm sure it was just lower on the list, but yeah.
Yep. We'll try to go through this last or second last question quickly here, but how would you compare customization in this game to the other games that you've played?
So I mentioned Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and NFL Street 2 earlier because I
Mm-hmm.
really feel like that's a good comparison, because those games have more focus on like streetwear, right? Or like
Yep.
more regular person outfits. If you could compare it to, like, you could say, oh well, Destiny has customization, but like you're always wearing space armor, right?
Right.
Or Skyrim or something like that. You have outfits, but it's all like, medieval style clothing and stuff like that.
They also have
So I
bonuses,
really
which you have to take into effect.
right. But regardless, I feel like it really was a callback to the character customization of like those older games, which I thought was really cool. As far as customization compared to its contemporaries, I definitely think it had better customization than any of the other games out there like it. At least in the battle royale genre. I mean, Fortnite, um,
Yeah.
is well known for its skins, and it's winning in the crossover department. But I definitely feel like if I want a free whatever free item from in Rumbleverse from fan mail, I'm gonna be more excited than in Fortnite if I went and did some whatever quest to win a free item, because a lot of times those Fortnite ones just clog up your closet space because you put on one skin, you put on a backpack or whatever you want to do, and then you kind of call it a
Mm-hmm.
day. Whereas Rumbleverse, you might get like, one thing like an elbow pad, and you may use it for, however many outfits that you come up with. um, and so that piecemeal system actually, I think, allowed for the rewards progression to be actually better than those games, because you could use each of those pieces. And I mean, you can't really comparing to Apex is kind of not fair, because that's a first person game. You don't even
You
see
don't
what
even
you're
see
in most of
yourself.
the time
Yeah.
anyway. But I really felt like there was so much more potential for the customization system, even if you want to talk about monetization and stuff like that. For obviously free to play games run off of that, I feel like there was
Mm-hmm.
the sky was the limit with this system in terms of if they got more crossovers or more outfits. Eventually, I think it really would have. I think it had a lot of potential there for sure.
They could have done, well, obviously they could have done more with crossovers. They could have locked costumes if they have, if you got John Cena in the game, you gotta keep him John Cena. I'm sure that would have been fine. People would be playing, there'd be like a whole bunch of John Cenas running around, and that'd be funny at one on one hand. But yeah, I mean, I've played like, I don't know, probably 20 hours of Fortnite and unlocked nothing in that game. Like, I still have to use the default skin, and anyone I play with is like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I don't have another choice unless you want me to use the Christmas one that I got. That's literally the only thing,
Yeah.
the only other option I have. So yeah, Rumbleverse definitely gave you more options and faster, which is great. And especially if you got the battle pass, there's that part of it too. You can unlock some things that are exclusive, at least in the short term. I don't know if they would become available over time. It's hard to say. Now, normally at the end of the show, I'd ask what is one thing you really like about Rumbleverse, but you've already been on the show before, so we're going to need to go with a different question for you this time. So to end it off, I'm going to ask, what is one of your most memorable moments in Rumbleverse?
Ooh, one?
Yeah, I'm going to have
Oh
to go with
man.
one. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me think. Okay, I'll boil it down to the ending of the game, uh, the shutdown of the game announcement, because I actually was at the Royal Rumble. I got tickets for Christmas, and I made a sign. I'd never made a sign for anything before like that, and I was like, I
Mhm.
need to. I didn't know that the game was going to be shut down. Obviously, I didn't even have an inkling of that, but I just knew like, oh
Yeah.
man, I think the player base is kind of low. I was like, I just I wish more people knew about this game. So I was like, if people at like wrestling fans, like there's a big group that would enjoy this. So I just made a
Mm.
sign that literally just said "Play Rumbleverse," free to play wrestling battle royale, because I was like, that's like the core of it that you would see. And so I brought that and was holding up. You can actually see it in the in some like the taping of the pay-per-view. It's, you can't see what it says, but you can see a tiny
Oh.
green lime green sign up above the entryway. And right at the while I was at the Royal Rumble, and I was like, nah, it can't be true. Like, no. And then
Yeah.
I'm literally like in between matches looking, and people like, I don't know, like the Discord's blowing up, panicking.
Mhm.
And then of course a couple days later they announced it was shutting down. And I remember, man, I went into the as soon as they announced it, I went into like the bathroom and I was like crying, and it was rough because of I talked about this in my tribute video, about how it hit me so hard because of various factors. So I guess I won't go super into all that, but I was upset, and so it's kind of a downer. But that really did bring me closer to the community, because that day was the same day that I hopped on Emperor Mole's stream, because I was so depressed about it. I was like, I just want to talk
Mhm.
to people who love this game, and
Yeah.
I don't go on Twitch, so I was like, I'm just gonna hop into this, and we talked about they talked about the game shutting down, and I jumped into a community like whatever playground mode, and we were just like playing around or whatever, and like from then on, like I felt even tighter with community than I already had before, because we all came together with the game ending and how much like this game meant to us, right? And I
Mhm.
remember the day it ended, uh, I posted my tribute video that I've been working on, and it was actually someone mentioned while, because I was on talking with Emperor Mole, when the day the game ended, and we couldn't play anymore because the servers like crapped out or whatever, and so I just had to watch
Mhm.
him, and I just jumped on. I was talking on stream or whatever, just because I was like, I need to be with people in the community when this shuts down, because I'm not okay. And then I think Mole or someone said like, oh, they're watching your tribute video on, it was after it ended, and there were people were still technically playing for a little bit, and they said, oh well,
Mhm.
everybody's watching your tribute video on Automatic's stream, and I was like, what? And so
Oh damn.
after I jumped off of Emperor Mole's thing, I didn't get to see, I didn't get to interact or whatever while they were watching it, because the chat or wherever, you couldn't chat or anything in it, until you had like been a subscriber for 20, or not subscriber, follower for 20 whatever.
Oh
But I
no.
remember I went back after that, and I got to watch the replay of the stream and watch everyone react to it, and it was really crazy seeing like it was actually Keats who recommended like, hey, have y'all have we seen? Can we put up the Inertia's video? I haven't seen it yet. I was like,
Mhm.
did they really know? Because I made a post on Twitter, I was gonna make it, but man, it was just really cool to see, even though the game shut down, to see everyone's reaction to the tribute, to see, I know you thankfully provided a note on the video because it was a community thing,
Yep.
and just to see everyone's love come together for the game in a moment of sadness was, it was bittersweet, but I thought it was very memorable for me, to see everyone come together to celebrate a game that we all loved, and hopefully a game that we can all love when it comes back. Hopefully.
Yep. Gotta be
So
positive.
we're
It's
gonna,
coming back sometime.
yes, save rumbleverse.com, hashtag save rumbleverse. I
Perfect. Thank you. I should probably do that more often, but I don't.
Yeah, I appreciate you with the website and everything, and I really really hope that we get to play at some point again whenever the game comes back, and the community
For
can
sure.
come back together, and we can all play a game that I've been itching to play that doesn't exist anymore, which is a weird
Mhm.
feeling, but really sucks. So hopefully that comes back.
All right, it's time to ring the bell and call it a match. Thank you again to Inertia for gracing the Fourth Wall Splat podcast with your fashionable stylings. From the catwalk to the locker room, I hope everybody has learned how to dress for success, and remember us when you become famous, all right? Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Hey, has anyone seen my pants? What? I already checked by the red light. Oh.